Days Gone is continuously dubbed as an underrated game, and today I decided to get the Platinum Trophy for it. The Days Gone Platinum Trophy includes a total of 45 trophies that I'll need to earn and has an estimated completion time of 60 hours. So I started the story where you get introduced to arguably the three most influential characters of the game, Deacon, Boozer and Sarah, where you put Sarah on a medical helicopter as she was stabbed by a child. The game then skips 2 years into the future where you and Boozer are chasing down someone called Leon. It was also here that you got introduced to the bike mechanics of the game, and it's safe to say that this was a struggle for me. I then chased down Leon where I then offered him a helping hand, but doing so gave me my first trophy of the game as Leon gave me a treasure map. I then returned to my bike and found that the fuel was leaking, and if you didn't know, that is not good. So I headed to the nearest garage to get the parts to fix my bike, where Boozer distracted the nearby infected but then got kidnapped by a new group of enemies called the Rippers, who are an interesting group of people. So I politely asked them to stop and then we fled the area with Boozer as there was a horde of infected approaching, where I then earned my second trophy of the game. I then got introduced to the Marauder camps where I then found that my bike was stolen, which means that I can't use a bike in a bike focused game. I then chased someone who I thought could be the person that stole my bike, where I then found an encampment that was run by someone called Copeland. This then finished the story mission, which gave me enough XP to unlock my first skill, earning another trophy. I then continued with the story, clearing out a Nero checkpoint as Boozer seriously needed some bandages for his arm. But in this checkpoint I then found my first Nero injector, which enabled me to upgrade my health, stamina or focus for the first time, earning a trophy. After this I then gave Boozer the bandages for his arm, where I then started to complete some of the side activities that were in the game, clearing some of the camps and completing one of the bounties. I then went to the cemetery to collect the medicine stash that Leon gave us the map for at the start of the game, where I rudely got interrupted by a Nero helicopter. So after killing the infected, I then followed the helicopter where I had to listen to a Nero researcher talk about how the infected don't sleep. But hey, there's another trophy, so I'm not complaining. I then had to choose who to give the medicine to, and the two options were I either give it to Tucker, who would then sell me better weapons, or to give it to Copeland, who would help me upgrade my bike. But you know me, I want the guns. I then continued through the story where I visited Sarah's grave, as it turned out that we never saw her again after we put her on that helicopter. I also investigated Nero some more, where you then get some backstory as to how Deacon and Sarah met. This does then get interrupted by the fact that you have to save a survivor called Lisa, and it may have been better if we just left her here. But you take her back to your bike where you're forced to then have a boss fight with a bear, and just look at how much health it has. But after nearly getting mauled to death, I then did the most logical thing and threw a pipe bomb at it, and then took Lisa to Tucker where they had a happy reunion. And being in a happy mood, I then decided to pick some flowers for Boozer. But my mood was ruined as Lisa was then kidnapped by the Rippers, and in the time it took me to rescue her they had already messed up her face, so I decided to give her to a different camp called Lost Lake so she'd be safer. It also turns out that Deacon and Boozer are banned from this camp as they left it not so long ago. But this doesn't matter as Boozer's arm is getting worse, and as the camp has the only doctor left, you ride safe with Boozer to take him there, earning another trophy. After some friendly discussion we were then allowed to stay in the camp where I earned 2 of the miscellaneous trophies. One for upgrading my bike for the first time and another for selling animal meat or plants to an encampment. I then continued with the story where I had to sneak into the Ripper territory to steal some medical equipment for Boozer else he was going to die. It was here that I also ran into a new type of infected in the game called a Breaker. There is a trophy that you can get if you kill the Breaker with a knife, but at the time that I was fighting the Breaker I didn't know that this was a thing, so I just blew him up. Something I would really regret doing later on. I then returned the medical equipment to Addy, who was the doctor, who said that the only way to save Boozer's life was to cut off his arm. So yeah, I don't think he's going to be using his bike anytime soon. I then completed more of the side missions and even a main mission with Iron Mike, where I learned that TNT can solve all of my problems. I then checked up on Boozer where I then earned a trophy called Brothers in Arm. Too soon, man, too soon. I then teamed up with a neuroscientist who turned out to be the same scientist that saved Sarah at the start of the game, to try and find out if Sarah could still be alive. But whilst I was completing these missions, I also earned the trophy for unlocking 15 skills and the trophy for crafting 50 items. I then continued with the story, which even saw me team up with Skizzo to try and find some of the TNT in a nearby cave, which didn't go to plan as I was then introduced to another type of infected. I then had to save Boozer as he nearly drunkenly walked into a horde of infected, but after my pristine driving we just managed to escape. You then go on a mission with Boozer where you find that the Rippers are chasing after and killing stray dogs, so you and Boozer return the favour. After this I then returned to my safe house, and when I was on my way out I found another Breaker, so with the This Is a Knife trophy in mind I decided to fight it, which didn't go to plan. But luckily for me I ran into another one about 10 minutes later, where this time I was able to earn the trophy. I then set fire to the church that you got married to Sarah in before going into the Ripper territory again with Skizzo to find some detonation cord for the TNT. We then find the cord, but unfortunately this is the time that Skizzo decides to hand us over to the Rippers. But after we get tortured for a little bit, we then get saved by Lisa, who turns out to be a Ripper now. I then escape the Ripper compound and return to my bike, earning a trophy. You then go on an all-out war against the Rippers who are attacking the Lost Lake camp, and all of this ends in another treaty, but hey, at least Skizzo gets locked up. I then stole Skizzo's sniper rifle and go with Boozer to attack the main Ripper compound. We do this as it turns out that Deacon and Boozer knew Carlos, who's the Ripper leader before the outbreak. So you protect Boozer while he sets the explosives up and then blow up the dam near the compound which floods the surrounding area. I then made my way to Carlos and had a boss fight. This was pretty trippy as we got drugged at the start and I died in this fight multiple times. But after dying at the same part for about 10 minutes I was then able to kill Carlos. So I celebrated with a hug from Boozer. I should also say that when I was in the Ripper area of the map, I also cleared all of the ambush camps, the infestations and the Nero checkpoints in the region, earning a trophy. You then remember that Sarah had federal clearance, which meant that there was a chance that she got evacuated before the infected attacked. So you ask Iron Mike to take you through the pass which leads you to a new area of the game. And after listening to some sad music for a while, you then earn a trophy where you then have to kill an infected bear that's attacking some of the local militia. So you then do the next logical thing and sign up for the militia in an attempt to find Sarah. And you then get told to report to someone called Lieutenant Whitaker, who turns out to be Sarah. She then decides to pretend like she doesn't know who we are, but hey, I got a trophy, so it makes some of the pain go away. I then continued with the story, which was basically the same kind of missions that I'd already completed but for this new area. And during this time I earned the trophy for rescuing 10 survivors. The story then involved me completing numerous supply runs for Sarah and Weaver. One of these also included a mission where you go with Sarah to the place where she used to work. But as it's snowing outside, you then decide to spend the night together in front of a fire. And after you make it, the game then gives you another trophy. You then get given an upgraded napalm molotov from Weaver, which you're supposed to use to kill the infected hordes. You then volunteer to go with Corey to test this new molotov out, and this involves you soloing an entire horde. So after emptying my whole inventory of explosives, I just managed to kill the horde, earning a trophy. I also completed some more missions for O'Brien, which saw me introduced to the final type of infected called the Reacher. And when I was free roaming and completing some of the random side missions, I then earned the trophy for unlocking 30 skills and the trophy for collecting 989 freaker ears. I then tried to escape with Sarah in a Nero helicopter, but this saw us get captured by the militia. But luckily for us, we then got saved by Corey. What a guy. You then ride back to the Lost Lake camp as the militia are going to attack it because Skizzo told them to. In this fight between the camp and the militia, you manage to protect the camp but Iron Mike dies. But as you're planning your revenge with Ricky and Boozer, I then earned a trophy. Iron Mike died for this. I then upgraded my bike some more, and this meant I'd now spent over $20,000 in this camp, earning me the Make It Rain trophy. This then led me to the end of the story, where after killing 2 hordes you then attack the militia compound. You also get a cutscene where Boozer pushes you out of harm's way and you think he dies. This all ends with you having a boss fight with Skizzo, which ends with you killing him. But hey, I've been waiting for this. This effectively ends the story, where you also learn that Boozer survived, where I then got the trophy for completing the story. With the story completed, it was now time for me to collect the remaining trophies, with the main trophy that I needed to go for being the Mr. Fahrenheit trophy for unlocking every skill in the game. This required me to reach the maximum level, which required me to earn a lot of XP. But whilst I was completing all of the side related contents, the first trophy I got was for receiving the Allied Trust status with an encampment, where I then fully upgraded my stamina, earning another trophy. I then got the Farewell Original trophy for purchasing an upgrade for my bike under the Performance, Visual and Paint category for my bike. And whilst I was completing one of the bounty missions, I also earned the trophy for collecting 541 items from corpses, which was potentially the hardest trophy of the game, as yeah, that is a lot of bodies. I then got the trophy for collecting 50% of the collectibles, which was honestly a bit weird as the collectible list for this game included some weird items such as Colonel Garrett's speeches, radio messages and even plants. But hey, a trophy's a trophy. I then earned the World's End trophy for completing the World's End storyline, which just required me to complete some of the Nero checkpoints and some of the Nero research sites. I then earned the trophy for destroying all of the infestations, and this took me a while due to the resources that I needed to collect to create the Molotovs being hard to get, as I spent at least half an hour riding around the map trying to collect rags and alcohol. And of course my PlayStation decided to not record this trophy clip, so here's a screenshot of the trophy. I then earned the 2 camp related trophies, with the first being for completing all of the Marauder camps and the second for completing all of the ambush camps. I then earned the trophy for applying 100 scrap to repair my bike, and I must have been that good at riding my bike during the game as I had to purposely crash my bike to do damage to it just so I could repair it. I mean, what can I say, I'm just a pro. I then earned a trophy for getting 100 stealth kills, and after about 5.5 hours of completing side content, including all of the camps and all of the hordes, I finally earned the trophy for getting level 3 on 3 of the different camps. I then earned the Burnt Out Apocalypse trophy, which is the trophy that you get for using the Nitro and Drift at the same time on your bike for at least 5 seconds, and I'm a bit embarrassed as to say how long it took me to complete this. It took me way too long. Again, my PlayStation decided to not record my next 2 trophy clips, which just sucks. But first I got the odd reliable trophy for killing 200 enemies with a crafted weapon. I also then earned a trophy for killing an enemy with every type of crossbow bolt. Yeah, it sucks that it didn't record the trophy pop-ups, but here's the screenshots of the 2 trophies. But back to things that my PlayStation did record. I next earned the Go Kick Rocks trophy, which is the trophy that you get for knocking down 12 of the Anarchist Cairns. Cairns? I have no idea if that's how it's pronounced. And after spending another hour riding around the map collecting more of the collectibles, I basically turned into a gardener at one point as I collected that many flowers. The things I do for trophies. I then left my controller AFK for the better part of 10 minutes to get the Farewell Drift trophy, which is the trophy that you get for accumulating 10 minutes of drift time whilst you're on your bike. This just left me with the Mr. Fahrenheit trophy for unlocking all 45 of the skills. I can show you when I unlock this skill, but my PlayStation decided to be funny again and not record the trophy pop-up for this trophy and the Platinum trophy. Pain.